A woman was shot and killed just minutes after posting about the domestic violence she was facing. Family members say 34-year-old Mariah Samuels lost her life this weekend to that violence.
September 15, 2025, 7:50 in the morning. A woman steps out of her front door in North Minneapolis, car keys in hand, ready to start her Sunday. 15 gunshots tear through the quiet neighborhood. She drops in her driveway. Blood spreads across the concrete. Her leg hangs out of her SUV door. She's 34 years old, a mother of 2, and she's dead before the sun fully rises. But here's what's going to mess you up. This wasn't random. This was planned, calculated, an execution. And the killer? He'd been violating a protective order for weeks. She'd called the police multiple times. She had video evidence. She had witnesses. She had done everything the system told her to do. 8 minutes before those bullets ripped through her body, she posted on Facebook, "The police ain't doing shit," or did a MF thing besides serve him a protective order, and clearly it's not doing shit. She was absolutely right. Welcome to Shadows of Crime, where we expose the cases that prove justice isn't blind, it's broken. If you're ready for a story that'll make your blood boil, hit that subscribe button right now, smash the like, and share this video, because people need to hear this. Drop a comment and tell us where you're watching from today. Let's build this community. This is the story of Mariah Samuels, a woman who fought back, a woman who trusted the system, a woman who did everything right. And the system let her die anyway. Mariah Rosanna Samuels wasn't supposed to be a victim. That's not how her story was written. She was 34 years old, full of life, the kind of person who lit up every room she walked into. Her family called her Juicy, a nickname that captured her sweet, vibrant energy. She had 2 sons, an 18-year-old who just graduated high school, and an 11-year-old who still needed his mom for everything. Mariah worked as a pet groomer at Petco, and she was good at it. Neighbors would specifically request her because she had this gift with animals, especially the aggressive ones that other groomers wouldn't touch. She'd calm them down, work her magic, send them home looking fresh. She dreamed of opening her own pet boutique with her aunt one day. That was the plan. That was the future she was building. But Mariah wasn't just about work. This woman lived. She'd traveled to Thailand, Mexico, Jamaica, always chasing adventure, always saying yes to life. She loved ziplining, loved exploring, loved collecting moments instead of things. Butterflies fascinated her. Dogs made her smile. She was independent, strong, responsible. The kind of woman who juggled multiple jobs to afford her home and give her boys everything they needed. She grew up in North Minneapolis, raised by a village. Her mother struggled when Mariah was young, so her aunts, uncles, and cousins stepped in. They all raised each other, created this tight-knit family bond that never broke. Mariah carried that love with her everywhere. Her Aunt Yvonne said it best. She was living her dream. We talked about that pet boutique all the time. She took care of all the pets in the family. Her sister Simone described her as my everything. This was a woman who had her life together, a woman who worked hard, loved harder, and didn't take nonsense from anyone. But here's the part that'll chill you to the bone. Mariah was the 4th woman in her family to be murdered by someone who claimed to love them. The 4th. Her sister had already lost someone else to domestic violence. This family had been through this nightmare before, and they were about to live it again, because in the spring of 2025, Mariah met a man. A man who seemed stable, mature, interested in her and her sons. A man who'd just gotten out of prison after 15 years and swore he was a changed person. His name was David Eugene Wright, and he was about to destroy everything. Mariah had no idea she was dating a monster. None of us ever do, until it's too late. David Eugene Wright was 50 years old when he met Mariah, fresh out of federal prison, 15 years behind bars for illegal gun possession. But when he approached her, he didn't lead with that. He played the reformed man card. Stable, mature, ready to settle down and be a family man. Mariah bought it. Why wouldn't she? He seemed interested in her sons, helped with errands, showed up when she needed things. He looked like a second chance at love. But David Wright didn't do love, he did ownership. Let's rewind and look at who this man really was. 2002, Wright pointed a gun at his girlfriend and her sister. That's over 2 decades of using firearms to control women. This wasn't new behavior, this was his signature move. 2009, federal conviction for illegal gun possession, 15 years in prison. You'd think that would teach him something, right? Wrong. It just gave him time to refine his tactics. 2020, a woman filed a protective order against him, accused him of breaking into her home and injuring her with a gun. Federal probation office knew about it, did nothing. 2022, another woman filed a protective order. More allegations of violence. Federal probation knew, still did nothing. Spring 2025, Wright gets released, meets Mariah within weeks, and the cycle starts all over again. Here's how it went down. Classic abuser playbook. Page 1, love bombing. Constant attention, intense connection, moving fast. By June, Maria's friends started noticing changes. She got quieter on social media. Her phone would ring nonstop during hangouts. She'd step away, come back with this forced smile that didn't reach her eyes. Wright started showing up places without being invited. The grocery store, her job, outside her house. He'd call it coincidence, say he was just thinking about her, but it wasn't romantic. It was surveillance. He was memorizing her schedule, tracking her movements, making sure she knew he was always watching. His eyes would scan every man who came near her. Jealousy disguised as protection. Possessiveness wrapped in concern. Friends tried to say something, but you know how it goes. When you're in it, you can't always see it. Mariah probably made excuses for him. Probably thought he just cared a lot. Probably believed he'd calm down once he felt more secure. But men like David Wright don't calm down, they escalate. By July, Mariah realized something was wrong. The relationship felt suffocating. The constant calls, the unannounced visits, the way he always needed to know where she was. It wasn't love. It was control. So she did what strong women do. She created distance, stopped answering his calls, started reclaiming her life. And that's when David Wright showed her who he really was. Because to men like him, a woman leaving isn't just rejection. It's betrayal. It's disrespect. It's a challenge that demands punishment. Mariah thought ending the relationship would set her free. Instead, it signed her death warrant. August 21, 2025. Mariah makes a phone call that she thinks will end everything cleanly. She tells Wright it's over, done. She's moving on with her life, and he needs to do the same. He hangs up, probably feeling relieved, finally free. 5 days later, her nightmare becomes real. August 26th. Mariah's at home when she notices someone at her back door. Not knocking, just standing there, staring through the glass. It's Wright. She doesn't open the door. Smart move, right? But Wright doesn't leave. He starts circling the house like a predator, testing windows, rattling doorknobs, checking for weak points. Then he stops at the door again and says he has a gift for her. Mariah makes a choice. Maybe she thinks talking to him will make him leave. Maybe she's trying to de-escalate. Maybe she just wants him gone. Whatever the reason, she steps outside. The gift wasn't flowers. It wasn't an apology. The gift was violence. Wright pulls out a gun and starts pistol whipping her. The metal cracks against her skull. Once, twice, again and again. She tries to fight back, but he's bigger, stronger, and he's got a weapon. He drags her across the floor like she's nothing, like she's an object he owns. Then he wraps his hands around her throat and squeezes. She can't breathe, can't scream. The room starts going dark. He presses the gun to her temple, cold metal against her skin, and asks her a question. "You want to die over another man?" He's choking, bleeding, terrified. He threatens to blow up her father's house, threatens everyone she loves. Mariah loses consciousness. When she wakes up, Wright is gone. Her face is swollen. There's a knot on her head the size of an egg. Blood everywhere. She's alive, but barely. Police arrive. They take photos of her injuries, document everything. Mariah gives them a detailed statement. Her security cameras caught the whole thing on video. There are witnesses, physical evidence. This is a slam-dunk felony assault with a deadly weapon case. That same day, August 26th, Mariah files for an emergency protective order. August 27th, the judge grants it immediately. The order covers both Mariah and her 11-year-old son. Wright is legally prohibited from contacting her, coming near her, or being anywhere she is. Mariah probably felt safer. The system was working, right? She'd done everything by the book. Reported the assault, got the order. Now Wright would be arrested, charged, locked up. Except that's not what happened. Minneapolis police never forwarded the case to the county attorney's office. The assault report, complete with photos, video evidence, witness statements, everything, just sat there. Administrative limbo. Collecting dust. Their excuse? Mariah initially declined to press charges. But here's the thing. In domestic violence cases involving weapons and serious injury, the state presses charges. Victim preference doesn't matter. The evidence was overwhelming. They had everything they needed, and they did nothing. Wright stayed free. No arrest, no charges, no consequences. The protective order was just a piece of paper. And Wright was about to prove it meant absolutely nothing. Because while Mariah thought she was finally safe, Wright was planning his next move. And this time he wasn't coming to scare her. He was coming to kill her. August 30th, 2025, Mariah's 34th birthday. She should be celebrating with her sons, her family, living her best life. Instead, David Wright shows up at her door with presents. She doesn't open it, tells him to leave. The protective order is clear. He's not supposed to be anywhere near. Wright doesn't care. He sits down on her front steps and refuses to move. 1 hour passes, then 2, then 3. He's calling out to her through the door, reminding her of their good times, making promises to change. For 3 hours, this man camps out on her property, violating a court order. And Mariah's trapped inside her own home. That's violation number 1, no arrest. Fast forward to September 12th. Mariah's phone buzzes. Unknown number. She opens the text. It's Wright. He got a burner phone. Untraceable, anonymous. The message is a mix of apologies and manipulation. He even asks why she hasn't blocked this number yet, like it's some kind of game to him. Mariah screenshots it as evidence but doesn't respond. That's violation number 2. Still no arrest. September 14th, 2:32 in the morning. Mariah can't sleep. She's angry, frustrated, exhausted. She posts on Facebook, "I'm extremely angry at men who physically abuse women and then act like victims when women protect themselves. The police aren't doing anything despite the protective order." An hour and a half later, 4:00 a.m., her security cameras pick up movement. Wright is outside her house, walking around the property, checking her car, peering through windows, testing doors. Mariah grabs her phone and calls 911 immediately. She reports the violation, describes exactly where he is, begs for help. Officers arrive. Wright's already vanished into the darkness like a ghost. No arrest, no warrant issued, no emergency protection plan. They tell her to stay inside and call if he comes back. That's it. That's the help she gets. Violation number 3, 0 consequences. Between 4:00 a.m. and 7:45 a.m., Wright starts sending threatening messages from different numbers. "You a fake nothing-ass bitch. I knew you was fucking that nigga." Mariah's had enough. She's done being silent. She's done playing nice. At 7:45 a.m., she fires back on Facebook, calling him out publicly. "I'm a fake nothing-ass bitch, coming from a broke bum bitch nigga who can't control his emotions and put hands on me, threaten my family, and damage my car because he can't handle a breakup." Wright responds by posting a photo of them together with the caption, I miss this. He's rewriting history, playing the heartbroken ex, trying to make himself look like the victim. Mariah's final post comes minutes later. I'll unblock you so you can stop going on your friend's FB to stalk my shit and watch all this greatness. Then at 7:45 a.m., she makes one last statement. I was trying to stay silent, but stalking me at 4 in the fucking morning and the police ain't doing shit, or did a meth thing besides serve him a protective order, and clearly it's not doing shit. Gee, fuck this. She even posts the CCTV footage from the August assault, makes it public, shows the world what he did to her. What Mariah didn't know, what she couldn't know, was that while she was typing those words, David Wright was already outside her house, watching, waiting, gun loaded, planning her murder. September 15th, 2025, Sunday morning. The kind of day that should be peaceful, quiet, safe. 7:45 a.m. Witnesses spot a man on a bicycle moving slowly down Russell Avenue North. He's not in a hurry, not rushing, just watching, waiting. That man is David Wright, and that bicycle, stolen. He took it specifically for this moment because he knew it couldn't be traced back to him. No license plate, no registration, no paper trail. He'd been outside Mariah's house since before dawn, studying her routine, making sure her sons weren't home. This wasn't rage. This wasn't a crime of passion. This was premeditated murder. 7:48 a.m. Wright ditches the bike in an alley 2 blocks away, continues on foot, gun in hand, mind made up. He positions himself near her driveway and waits. 7:50 a.m. Mariah walks out her front door, car keys in hand, purse over her shoulder. She's heading to her Jeep Cherokee, probably thinking about work, about her sons, about getting through another day. She doesn't see him until it's too late. Wright opens fire. The first bullet hits her before she can even react. She stumbles, tries to run, tries to get inside the vehicle for cover. But Wright doesn't stop. He moves around the car like he's completing a mission, fires through the driver's side, then the passenger's side. Methodical, deliberate, emptying the magazine. 15 shots. 15 bullets tearing through metal, glass, and flesh. Neighbors hear the gunfire. Some think it's firecrackers. Others know immediately what it is. One person watches from their kitchen window, frozen in horror, as Wright stands over Mariah's body. She's slumped in the vehicle, blood everywhere, one leg hanging out the door. Wright tries to drag her out. Maybe he's planning to move the body. Maybe he wants to finish the job up close, but she's caught on something, seatbelt, door frame, something, and her dead weight won't budge. He stands there for 10 seconds, just staring at what he's done. No panic, no remorse, just cold calculation. Then he gives up, turns around, and calmly walks back to the stolen bicycle, pedals away like he just finished running an errand. 8:09 a.m. Paramedics arrive. Mariah Samuels is pronounced dead at the scene. She never made it out of her driveway, never made it to work, never got to hug her sons again, never got to open that pet boutique with her aunt. 15 bullets stole all that. The crime scene tells the whole story. 15 shell casings scattered across the concrete. Bullet holes in the Jeep from multiple angles. Blood pooled beneath the vehicle. Drag marks where Wright tried to move her. Forensic investigators call it what it is, a deliberate execution. Police immediately identify Wright as the suspect. His federal probation status triggers involvement from the U.S. Marshals Service. Every patrol car in Minnesota gets his photo. The Violent Fugitive Task Force activates. The manhunt is on. 19 hours later, they find him at a motel in Anoka, about 20 miles north of Minneapolis. The manager called it in, guest matching Wright's description, checked in with cash and a fake name. But he made one mistake. He used his real ID. 17 officers from 3 different agencies surround the building. They're ready for a fight. Wright's armed, dangerous, and has nothing to lose. They breach the door. Wright is sitting on the bed, fully dressed, hands already raised in surrender. His first words? I knew you'd find me. His only question? Did she suffer? Not an apology, not regret, just curiosity about whether his victim felt pain, like he was the one who deserved peace of mind. Most killers lawyer up immediately, invoke their Fifth Amendment rights, stay silent. Not David Wright. He waives his right to an attorney the second they put him in that interrogation room. He wants to talk, needs to explain himself, needs everyone to understand why he had no choice but to murder Mariah. His opening statement sets the tone for everything that follows. I'm not going to fight this situation. This won't be a hard-fought case. Just read our text messages. Then you'll understand why I did what I did. Let that sink in. He genuinely believes that text messages, words on a screen, justify pumping 15 bullets into a woman's body. For 3 hours, Wright sits there and confesses to everything. How he tracked Mariah's movements, how he memorized her schedule, how he watched her house in the early morning hours, waiting for the perfect moment. He talks about the gun. First he says he found it. Then he says someone gave it to him. Finally he admits the truth. A friend sold it to him weeks earlier. That friend knew Wright was a convicted felon, knew he wasn't allowed anywhere near firearms. Sold it to him anyway. Wright explains his rage. How Mariah's independence felt like disrespect, how her refusal to take him back was a personal attack, how the protective order wasn't a legal boundary, it was a challenge, an insult. He talks about her Facebook posts like they were acts of war. She called him out publicly, embarrassed him, made him look weak. In his mind, she left him no choice. Then you'll understand why I did what I did. That phrase keeps coming up, like he's waiting for the detectives to nod and say, yeah, man, we get it. She had it coming. They don't. But Wright doesn't show a single emotion during the entire confession. No tears, no remorse, no moment where reality crashes down and he realizes he just threw his life away over his ego. He's calm, matter-of-fact, detached. Investigators ask him directly, do you regret it? His answer? He regrets that she made him do it. He regrets that things had to end this way. But he doesn't regret pulling the trigger. Because in his twisted mind, Mariah brought this on herself. Before they take him back to his cell, Wright has one request. He wants someone to tell Mariah's sons that he's sorry. When her sister Simone hears about this, her response is immediate and brutal. You're not sorry. You're just caught. September 16th, formal charges are filed. Second-degree intentional murder. Illegal possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Wright's federal probation is automatically revoked. Even if he somehow beats the murder charge, which he won't, he's going back to federal prison for violating supervised release. But here's the kicker. Despite the full confession, despite the surveillance footage, despite the witnesses, despite the forensic evidence, despite everything, Wright's attorney announces plans to plead not guilty. He confessed to the murder on tape, explained exactly how and why he did it, and he's still going to make Mariah's family sit through a trial and relive her death all over again. Because even in custody, even facing life in prison, David Wright refuses to take accountability. Here's the part that should make your blood boil. Mariah Samuels didn't have to die. This murder was 100% preventable. Multiple agencies had multiple opportunities to stop David Wright, and every single one of them failed. Let's break down exactly how the system killed Mariah. Failure. Number 1. Minneapolis Police Department. August 26th. Officers respond to Mariah's house after Wright pistol whips her, chokes her, and holds a gun to her head. They arrive. They see her injuries, swollen face, knot on her head, bruises everywhere. They take photographs. They collect her statement. They have video evidence from her security cameras. They have witnesses. This is textbook felony assault with a deadly weapon. Open and shut case. And they do nothing. The report never gets forwarded to the county attorney's office for prosecution. It just sits there in what they call administrative limbo. Wright stays free. No arrests, no charges, no consequences. Their excuse? Mariah initially declined to press charges. But here's what they're not telling you. In felony domestic violence cases involving weapons and serious injury, the state prosecutes. Victim preference is irrelevant. They had all the evidence they needed to move forward without her cooperation. They chose not to. Then September 14th rolls around. 4:00 a.m., Mariah calls 911 reporting Wright on her property. Clear violation of the protective order. Officers show up. Wright's gone. And instead of issuing a warrant, instead of setting up surveillance, instead of offering her any real protection, they tell her to call back if he returns. She didn't get a chance to call back, because the next time Wright showed up, he came with a gun and 15 bullets. Failure number 2, Federal Probation Office. David Wright was on supervised federal release for illegal gun possession. Let me say that again. He was being supervised for a gun crime. 2020. A woman files a protective order against Wright, accuses him of breaking into her home and hurting her with a firearm. Federal probation knows about it, does nothing. 2021. Another woman files a protective order, more allegations of violence. Federal probation knows. Still, does nothing. August 2025. Mariah files a protective order after Wright assaults her with a gun. That's 3 protective orders in 5 years while he's supposedly under supervision. After Mariah's murder, Wright's probation officer admits the truth, never conducted a single home visit, never verified his employment, never followed up on any of the protective orders. So what exactly was being supervised? What was the point of his release conditions if nobody was checking whether he followed them? Wright was being monitored for gun possession while actively obtaining guns and threatening women, and his probation officer just didn't care. Failure number 3, Hennepin County Courts. The protective order was granted August 27th. Clear terms, no contact, stay away. August 30th. Wright violates it by sitting on Mariah's steps for 3 hours. No arrest. September 12th. Wright contacts her via burner phone. No arrest. September 14th. Wright is caught on camera stalking her property at 4:00 a.m. No arrest. 3 violations in 19 days. 0 consequences. The order was just paper. It had no teeth, no enforcement, no meaning. Wright even posted a video on Facebook, mocking it. I don't give a fuck if you got a restraining order out on me, bitch. I'm not going nowhere. He was right. The order didn't stop him, because nobody made it stop him. Failure number 4, the information black hole. Here's the most infuriating part. Police knew about the assault and stalking. Probation knew about the protective orders and gun history. Courts knew about the violations. But nobody talked to each other. If probation had known about the August assault, they could have revoked Wright's release immediately. If police had known about the previous protective orders, they might have taken the violations seriously. If courts had known about the probation violations, they could have ordered enhanced monitoring. Instead, each agency operated in its own bubble. And Mariah died in the gap between them. 5 days after Mariah's murder, Russell Avenue North becomes a memorial site and a battleground. About 150 to 200 people gather. Family, friends, survivors, advocates. They march to the Minneapolis Police Department's 4th precinct, chanting Mariah's name, demanding answers that nobody wants to give. The memorial at her house tells its own story. Purple ribbons tied to the fence, photos of Mariah smiling, full of life, candles, flowers, balloons, and hundreds of protective orders from other survivors. Let that image sit with you. Hundreds of pieces of paper from women who are still alive, still fighting, still hoping that their order will actually protect them. It's a visual representation of a broken system. Proof that Mariah wasn't an isolated case. She was just the one who didn't survive it. Her sister Simone's words cut through everything. If my sister, who did everything right, couldn't be protected by this system, then who can be? Nobody has an answer. Mariah was the 4th woman in her family murdered by someone who claimed to love them. 4th. This family has buried multiple women who died the same way. Her sons, 18 and 11, are now without their mother. Fundraisers were set up for their future, but no amount of money brings her back. The Minneapolis Police Department promises to review their policies, promises better training, but promises don't resurrect the dead. And Mariah's family is left with one haunting question: why did she have to die for anyone to care? Here's what I need you to answer. Who's responsible for Mariah's death? Right? The police who ignored the assault? The probation officer who never supervised? The courts that didn't enforce violations? All of them? Drop your answer in the comments, and don't hold back. Have you ever ignored red flags in someone you loved? Have you ever told a friend he's not that bad when you knew something was wrong? Be honest, because ignoring the signs can cost lives. Share this video. Let's make sure Mariah's name isn't forgotten.